Hey guys, it's Mike Monte, one half of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. And we want to reach out to all the fans out there who have supported our show to say thank you. Thank you for making 2021 one of our best years. And one of our best years was because of Anchor. Anchor, the way that you can have your voice heard. You can be just like us. Record your own podcast. Use the Anchor tools to edit your podcast. Use it on a phone. Use it on your computer. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all with Anchor, they're totally free. So be just like Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. We're looking together for a great 2022. We've got huge guests coming on board. Oh, yeah. You're probably wondering why Jimmy's not here right now. Well, he's prepping for one of the best interviews we're about to have, and we're going to surprise someone with. So hang aboard with us, and don't forget, be like us and use Anchor.
What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Farrow from Monte The Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monte The Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. Later.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV, straight out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island. At the board is our super producer, Jared. Jared, how are you, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, man. Thank you for show 1. How did you feel about the return of the infamous John Sawyer?
No pies were thrown. I was expecting pies to be thrown. He's a comedian, so.
I felt John seemed a little bit nervous. He probably didn't. He was probably afraid that something was coming. And it really isn't, dude.
Like a big giant hand, like Johnny.
Look. I always respected him for the fact that, again, if it was, we've had this discussion and we don't necessarily agree on it, right, a few times,
okay.
but I feel like, with him, this whole thing doesn't start.
It was his starting
point,
right.
I think about, we have our special guest, Lloyd Anoa'i on, right? Getting opportunities to speak to these.
Or is it Anoa'i?
Well, I'm going to ask him, right, because, I pack people's names up on a regular basis.
No, not you.
Well, not me.
Come on.
But, look, we've had this opportunity to have this highly rated show and have these wonderful, which I was telling YouTube in an interview I just had with them, was this isn't fans, this is our family.
Right.
And we really do feel like that. So we wouldn't have that opportunity. And a call out to the family, the first ladies in the house, RJ Hudson in the house, Jason in the house. By the way, I've got to send some T-shirts out to some people because I'm so behind. I feel like such an idiot.
Is Bearcat Lee in the house?
No. Chris Lee is in the house, if you want to call him Bearcat Lee.
Hey, mate!
But anyway, we had this opportunity. And I think about it. Look, I'm not trying to name all the things that have happened, but,
Quite a
we've
few.
met. Dude.
Quite a lot.
I negotiated.
We'd be here a while.
I negotiated with NBC for Tony Atlas and got him a contract from the Young Rock.
Yeah.
What would I ever think I would have that opportunity?
Not at all.
So, you know what? I thank John Sawyer for this.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, what about the time we had breakfast and spent the whole day with Demolition?
Yeah.
They wouldn't let Sims pee in the bathroom.
Well, that's true.
That was hilarious.
All right, dude. So, bringing Brittany Griner home, and I'm going to ask our guest on this too, because I got to tell you, this is something to talk about.
Oh boy, here we go. Go ahead.
Came at a heavy cost, but was it worth it? Fans, friends, and allies from across the sports world have overtaken with joy. I'm not overtaken with joy. When the news that Brittany Griner's release broke Thursday morning, the U.S. government successfully orchestrated a one-for-one prisoner swap with Russia to bring Griner home after she spent months in detainment on drug smuggling charges and later sentenced to 9 years in prison. Yes, she's on a plane now, per President Joe Biden. She should be home within the next day. Griner's wife, Sherrill, also spoke during Biden's conference, saying her family is whole again. As it stands now, she's free, safe, and a flight home. But if it didn't come out with a heavy cost, considering she was swapped for, there is still plenty of work to be done and to bring another. I ask you, is this the same Brittany Griner that refused to stand for our national anthem? Is this the same lady?
Yep. Yes, it is.
Interesting.
Yes, it is.
But again, this was part of a demonstration against police brutality. So
swapped for who, by the way?
She was swapped for a Russian spy or whatever.
Okay.
The GOP, though, Pharaoh, and I need you to weigh in on all this, rips Brittany Griner deal for stranding Paul Whelan in Russia.
Paul Whelan, I got you.
Celebrities over veterans. Republican lawmakers on Thursday criticized for Biden for the deal that returned WNBA star Brittany Griner December 8th for carrying fentanyl
testing strips. Interesting.
Well, weigh in, brother.
Man, oh man. You know what's weird? What gets stuck in my head when I see this sort of deal being made.
I'm infuriated, by the way.
Well, look, you
I'm
served, and I can see why you would be.
It has even nothing to do with that.
To me, it even more so gives you the right to say, well, you always have the right, but to me, it more so gives you the right to feel the way you feel. Because she took a big fat dump on the national anthem that you risked your life over. So, yeah, I'm going to say that.
And she was carrying illegal drugs into another country.
Here's what really kills me. What made her more important? Do you remember Daniel Pearl?
Yes.
You know who that is, right?
Yep.
You know that he was beheaded, right?
Yeah.
What was done to get him out of there?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Maria Davis says Brittany should be in jail.
Yeah.
She was, Maria.
She was.
But the President of the United States decided to get her out.
Yeah. I'm not on board with it. I think it sucks. I mean, if that's what that's what some people think is a wonderful thing, that's great. They probably also pee on the American flag. It's possible. I don't know. Are we going to get in trouble for my opinion again? Because this is just absolute horseshit to me, what happened here. It's absolute horseshit.
I really want to get Lloyd's opinion on this when we get him on air, but
Okay.
I
don't get it at all.
Again, we have a veteran, that's still in that country.
Right.
We have a woman who spit on this country. Look, I understand she was angry over police brutality. I get it.
That's fine if she wants to be that way. That's fine.
Again, this whole not respecting this country is not the answer to get your message across.
Not to those who know better. That's just it. Ugh. Yeah, no better. No better. We're very lucky to be Americans. We are very, very blessed to be allowed the freedoms that other countries can only dream of.
And Maria says she will write a book, do a movie, and appear on talk shows.
Probably going to.
Again, if it was you and me carrying drugs into Russia,
I'm done.
Are they getting us out of there?
Are you kidding me? I'm the Russian cornholio. They've just stretched me like Jane Fonda on that exercise tape.
Cornholio.
Yeah, I'm done.
Wow.
Are you kidding?
All right.
A regular person's done. Finished. Done. Finished. You know?
Well, you know what? There is a regular person. There's a person defending our country that's still in there.
There you go.
But again,
I guess that sums that up.
Again, I don't hear anybody.
Right.
I've heard people for last 4 years or 6 years ago, nonstop complaining, and not one thing about anything that's going on right now.
Nope. And you won't.
And again, if everybody remembers our original YouTube channel, which had lots of subscribers and members and everything else, got shut down for our political thoughts. So we promised not to talk politics, but guess what? That lasted one show.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
We
too.
have to speak up.
Yeah. We have a right to our opinion, and we personally think that this is absolute garbage.
WWE Hall of Famer Barry Windham in ICU following a heart attack. The future is uncertain. Former WWE star Barry Windham is in the ICU after suffering a heart attack. The 60-year-old former wrestling star was in the airport on Friday evening when he went into cardiac arrest, according to his niece Mika Rotunda, who created a GoFundMe page to help Windham with his medical costs. Spidey, if you have a chance, maybe you could put the GoFundMe page on as we go so maybe fans can donate to Mr. Windham. Before I get to you, Pharaoh, Barry Windham to me is in my top 10 favorite wrestlers. He was in studio here. Really nice guy. We actually asked him, because he supposedly had a heart attack the first, when actually right before, well, not right before, but within a year or so before our interview with him. But he claimed he did not have a heart attack. I don't know if he did or not. The articles do say this is his second heart attack.
Right.
So, again, I'm going to go with what Barry Windham said, but very upsetting about Barry.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible. Like you said, we got to meet him. Wonderful person. Definitely left a huge impression from our younger days. I love Barry Windham. You never want to hear something like this. And he's too damn young, too. He's only 62, it says here. He's 62 years old. Just, it's rough, And is this the part where I can hear the shaking of the fist? Why isn't Vince McMahon?
By the way, Phil says it's Jim Morrison's birthday today.
Yes, it is. It's also John Lennon's death day.
It's a rough day. I think we've gone through this once before,
We have
right?
before, yes.
So anyway, you were saying about Barry?
No, I'm just saying, this is where I can hear the shaking fist, like Vince McMahon should have swooped in and taken care. Why does he need a GoFundMe page? He's a wrestling legend, blah, blah, blah. I can hear them. Any response to the voices in my head? Hi, Randy. How you doing, Randy?
Do you think certain wrestlers should be taken care of more than other wrestlers?
No.
Or is it... Because, if Vince did it for Barry, he'd have to do it for
I agree with that theory.
Wrestler.
I agree with that
But then again...
theory. In a perfect world, I'd like to see them all somewhat compensated, but that's not being realistic
Jay Will
either.
says, Barry Windham, one of the best. I have met Kendall Windham. He's a jerk.
Really?
That's what he says.
He's probably mad because he got lousy booking. Kendall. Poor Kendall. Kendall really got shafted, dude. Kendall is like Zeppo from the Marx Brothers.
Kendall,
you got Groucho, Chico, Harpo.
Kendall looks like Orange
Zeppo.
Cassidy, dude.
Yeah, well, where did he think he was going?
That's what I'm saying. What are you doing? What are you doing weighing 110 pounds?
It's not like he's Bo Dallas to Bray Wyatt. Now, Bo Dallas should be champion.
To the right of me is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrell. Jimmy Farrell, along with his partner, Bart Griggs, make up the band to Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. They also sing the Monte The Pharaoh theme song, Riding High. What's your partner's name?
Bartman!
There you go.
Thank you.
You can find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page here on Spotify. Download their music on Apple Music, Reverb Nation. If you didn't know it, this is Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. Seen here on YouTube, where we were once seen by 2 million viewers, but now we are lucky enough to... No. It's rebuilding, guys. Really, thank you for all the support. The channel is rolling pretty good, so we are recovering. And I will tell you, I posted a video that got us suspended, and they nailed me on it again. But guess what, guys? I appealed it, and we won the appeal.
Actually won. What do
so
you know?
Look at that.
What do you know?
And again, I still meet with YouTube twice a month, and
Right.
yada yada yada. Why do I meet with them? They have a lot of interesting questions because thanks to the beautiful people
what's
out
the
there.
first thing they ask you though? How does it feel to be public enemy number one?
No, the question is they don't understand why the retention time is so much higher than the average YouTube page.
Oh, very
and I
interesting.
say it's because of the wonderful guests like Lloyd.
There you go.
And the beautiful Monty and the family,
Wow,
like
yeah, the
R.J.
listeners
Hudson,
with the
Phil
comments.
Desiree, J.A. Will,
Absolutely.
ESO Creative, Maria, the First Lady of Wrestling,
Hey, Maria.
Davis,
Yes.
Roy Batiste,
Yes.
who says, by the way, Rip Mills Lane. We
Yeah.
discussed that on the first show.
Yeah, we did. We
You-
did.
You might have missed it,
Yep.
Roy.
Yep. We did cover it.
So we're going to take a quick break where we have the honor. Oh, by the way, if you live in New York, you will catch this interview with Mr. Lloyd Anoa'i on Channel 115 on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and on Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Lloyd Anoa'i?
Anoa'i.
We gotta find that.
Channel 22. Look, I'll hack my own last name up. Channel 20
Monte.
Tuesday. Don't think I wouldn't do it. Tuesday is at 9 p.m. We'll be right back, and this is going to be a hot one.
We will see you in a Samoan second.
Jimmy, I got to take a dump. What? No. I mean, I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP.
Elm Logistics. For all your logistic needs, call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV, where we are honored to have the great Lloyd Anoa'i. Lloyd, I'm hacking up your name.
Yeah.
Straighten me out.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it Anoa'i?
You're not.
One more time.
You're not the first one. It's Anoa'i.
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 A'i. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
That must be annoying all the time. Here, they do it on
It-
WWE television.
that's what everybody says. You know, they'll say annoy, and then they say, "Yeah, we're annoying."
There you go. That's pretty funny. Lloyd, Brittany Griner.
Yes, sir.
Thoughts, my friend.
Oh boy.
Man.
And they don't have to be our thoughts. So, whatever you think.
To be honest, I think it's a disgrace. You know, because I mean, if she did what they claim she did, you know, having drugs on her, she has to pay the time. I mean, I don't care if you're in the United States or you're in another country. If you know you're doing something illegal, you can't just think you're going to get away with it. And apparently, our president went over there and bailed her out. And I think it's a shame, to be honest with you.
Well, I couldn't agree more.
Your opening monologue would have been 10 seconds, but just as effective.
Well, I mean, that's like anybody else. You know what I mean? Just because she's a famous basketball player, I mean,
Right.
you can be a professional wrestler. You can be a baseball player, anything. If you're going to do something wrong, I mean, especially in a foreign country, I mean, every foreign country got different laws.
Yep.
You know, and if that's the law of Russia, you know, then she's got to deal with it. But apparently, they come to the rescue. But I guess they said that we have a veteran that's still stuck over there. Am I correct?
Yep.
That is correct.
Yep.
Yeah, but what are they doing for him? Someone that served our country
Crickets.
and someone that doesn't give a shit about our country.
There you go. There you
That's
go.
the way I see it.
So let me ask you this. The Samoan culture, right, which is strong, from what I understand. How do you guys feel about the United States, and is it equally as strong for the love of the United States within your culture?
Yeah, of course, because see, Samoa has got three little different islands, four different little islands, but you got the main islands, which is American Samoa and Western Samoa. And how American Samoa became part of the United States is because during the war they used to use the island for the ships. They used to hide them in the cove, and the U.S. Navy used to hide the ships over there. So they became they decided to become part of the United States, and we love America. I mean. I was raised here and born here, but the rest of my family, my dad and my uncles, they were born in the islands, and I love it there, but America's America.
Lloyd, I got to ask you, after giving us your thoughts on Brittany Griner and giving us a little history lesson on Samoa, being a great member of the Samoan professional wrestling dynasty, after these first couple of questions, are you feeling oozy yet?
I'm always oozy. I'm always oozy, juicy.
There we go. Could you get us into the family? We want to be oozy. Or is it the New York accent?
Hey,
We're just done.
well, hell, if Sami Zayn could be oozy, you could be oozy as
There
well.
we go. I love it. I
Very
love
funny.
it. All right, let's actually talk pro wrestling. Obviously, you're part of the great Samoan dynasty. What was it like being raised by, we grew up with one of the greatest tag teams of all time, Afa and Sika. What was it like being around folks such as these?
I mean, I love my dad and my uncle. They were one of the best tag teams in the world, and my dad will always be my idol. But when we were younger, it was rough. I mean, my dad didn't hold no punches on us. If we wanted to be in the business, we had to learn the hard way. And I respect my dad for training me and training the rest of our family that way because we respect the business a lot more than a lot of guys out there. And I'm not saying anything bad about any of the boys in the business, but some of us work a lot harder than others. And what I mean by that is, respecting the business and knowing where you came from because it actually put food on the table for us when we were young and it puts food on the table for my kids. So, in order to respect the business, we worked hard for it and worked hard to where where we belong in the business. Vince McMahon the McMahon's got a great relationship with us. And you can see a lot of our family are always going to be involved in WWE. Right now, there's four of them that are there right now, and they're doing great.
Are you excited that Triple H is in charge after Vince McMahon stepping down?
I like Vince. You know what I mean? He is rough. One of the best businessmen I've ever seen. But yeah, I'm kind of happy that Triple H is in there because he's bringing a lot of good talent back. And there's a lot that they got rid of, and they're bringing them back. Like for example, Braun Strowman, great guy, awesome dude. He was at his peak when they got rid of him, and now they bring him back. So I'm hopefully that they can bring him back up to the top. And for example, I heard that they're bringing Steven Regal back, which is going to be awesome
Correct.
because Regal is man, he's top notch. I've learned a lot from Regal, and I've respected him and sat down and really had some deep talks with him when I was younger, and even a few years back. And Regal's an awesome dude.
AEW a flash in the pan to you? Or do you see them being around 20 years from now?
Nah, I don't really watch them because to me their wrestling doesn't make any sense. There's everybody flipping and flopping all over the place. You know what I mean? That's not wrestling. There's no psychology. There's nothing whatsoever. Even though I'm not saying there's a lot of psychology in WWE, but it makes sense. Storylines are making sense. In AEW, I don't see any storylines. I don't see anything.
Lloyd, you've traveled the world, but I have to ask you this question. I'm going to ask you respectfully. What was it like growing up in Allentown, Pennsylvania? I used to have to travel there twice a week to work with my factory up there. I hated it.
Is it Allentown a hole? I wouldn't even know. Fill in that hole.
Allentown's not bad. I mean, we actually lived in Whitehall, PA, which is a town over. But when we first moved there was back in '85. Wrestling was big there. They had the Ag Hall where WWF used to wrestle. My dad and them. They used to do TV tapings there. That's maybe about an hour away from Hamburg, where the Hamburg Fieldhouse is. So wrestling actually started in Allentown and Hamburg and Philadelphia and all that. So my dad wanted to open up a gym there because his ex-wife, my stepmom, she was from Bethlehem. So we moved back there and thought it was a good place to open up a gym. And my dad he liked it there. So, we stayed there ever since. And I just recently moved from there about 2 years ago, living in Tampa right now. But Allentown was, I don't know, it's all right. I mean, I really can't say much about it right now because it's going downhill like a lot of other places. But when I was there, I enjoyed it. I had good times. I got a lot of good friends there. A lot of great memories in Allentown.
Well, you're living in Florida now. Don't ever come back. That would be a huge mistake.
It's warmer where you are.
I can't take that cold weather no more, man.
No.
I was just up there recently. I did a show for my brother up in the Poconos, and I swear we came from Florida from our family reunion. We just did our fourth family reunion, and it was in Pensacola, Florida. And I went from there and then went straight down to North Carolina where I had WrestleCade. So I shot from there and went straight down to PA. And, man, just the difference, man, it was unbelievable. I couldn't wait to get back home.
How many family members you have at this family reunion?
Not everybody was there, man. I say we had about 160 there.
Did Sami Zayn come?
That wasn't even a quarter of it. Nah, Sami Zayn didn't make it, man. He's
Jesus Christ.
He's Uzi. I figured he would be
I told you, Lloyd. I told you what you were going to get from this guy.
You can't take me anywhere. I'm sorry.
He wasn't feeling that Uzi that day. You know what I mean? I think he felt he was being around too many of us.
Lloyd, were you in The Wrestler?
Yes.
So how were you chose to go to The Wrestler? Like, how did they pick you for that movie? By the way, one of the all-time great movies. Forget about just being a wrestling movie.
Yes.
How did you end up being in The Wrestler?
Well, actually, my dad, they got in touch with my dad to train Mickey Rourke for their movie.
Oh, wow.
But before Mickey Rourke, a lot of people don't know, it was supposed to be Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
We started training Nicolas Cage, and then I guess the National Treasure 2 came out, and they wanted him to do National Treasure 2, and so he pulled out, and that's when they got in touch with Mickey Rourke, and said, "Listen, we're giving you a second chance because we all know that Mickey Rourke, he wasn't doing too good back then,
Right?
But I think he did a hell of a job. I mean, we trained him. It was great. He's a hell of a guy, real nice guy."
How do you think Nick Cage would have been if he was in that role instead of Mickey Rourke? Do you think the movie would have been as successful?
No. I don't think he could have played the part as well as Mickey did. I mean, his body wasn't up to par like Mickey Rourke, but Mickey did a hell of a job.
Do you think the movie would have been as successful if Evan Ginsberg was not the associate producer?
It was surreal. Oh my God! It was surreal. I suddenly was playing myself. Dude.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
All right, so.
Anyway, I hope he didn't call you for 350
Too funny.
days.
All right, anyway.
What? I can't help it. Oh, poor Lloyd. Next. Hey.
Lloyd, you get the call to the WWE. What is that like? You finally get to the big time.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Yeah.
It's great, man. I was young. Actually, I started with WWF back in 1992, and I was on the road with them. And I remember when my dad and them went back, and they were going as the head shrinkers, and that's when Yoko went as Yokozuna, and I was on the road, and at that time they had so many characters they wanted to come up with me, and then at the end I ended up going back to Puerto Rico and wrestling over there because I wanted to learn this character that Chief Jay Strongbow and Sergeant Slaughter came up with for me. So when I went over there, Carlos Colon had me be the savage, wild Samoan. So I was like, man, I'm supposed to be doing this character, and here I am, being something that they don't want me to be on TV. But I ended up going back in '95 and '96 and going back and doing the head shrinkers with my brother after he left, and then re-signed back in 1997, and that was something that was it was great to sign with those guys again. It was actually a shock because I wasn't looking forward to going back because we were just trying to make, go to ECW at that time. And we had a meeting with Vince, and my dad and Rikishi had a meeting with him. And so it was me and my cousin Matt, God rest his soul. We were sitting in the office and they're upstairs doing their meeting, and next thing you know, my dad comes down and he got this face and he's pissed off, and I'm like, oh God, this didn't go good. So they come out and my dad's like, fuck this place. Excuse my language. He's like, yeah, we put money in this building. He's looking up at the building and he's this and that. And next thing you know, he turns around and he looks at me and my cousin Matt and he goes, you guys got a job again. So, wow. So it was pretty cool. He shocked us and surprised us. And Vince signed us back in '97 as the New Age Samoans. That's the name we were going to go as at that time. And we were on the road for a while, and they were going to air us. They could put us on. They took us off, put us on, and then finally things happened to where, they just changed their mind about things like they always do. And I was a little frustrated with them, but, that comes and goes. That's the business. It's, you can't have everything. But I did all right. Well, after that, I went to ECW and did 2 years over there with Paul, which Paul is another Vince McMahon, one of the best in the business.
Well, I love ECW.
Great ideas.
ECW was my favorite company back in the day. Talk to us about the company that basically changed the wrestling landscape and the Samoan Gangster Party.
Man, the thing about ECW is when you went there, Paul gave you leverage. He let you come up with your own ideas. He came up with his ideas, but he would let you add into it. And over there, it was just open. We all had a good time. There was nobody where you had stooges around, saying this on you. Everybody had a great time. I mean, where could you go in the locker room where you could bring a fifth of whiskey and a whole a whole damn thing of beer in there and drink and have a good time?
Yeah,
it was fun. You
got New Jack up in the top doing an April.
I don't know about that, man. I stayed away from that. But a couple beers, yeah, I would have.
Yeah. Could you tell that ECW was not for long, though? I mean, just the way it sounds, it's totally different than the business model of Vince.
It is, and I was shocked that Vince actually bought ECW because he bought it when it was at its prime too. I mean, it was hot on TV,
right?
And I thought it was gonna give Vince some competition besides WCW back then, and it was. I thought it was just going to end up with just WWE and ECW because WCW was already on its way out. But I mean, Paul. I mean, they couldn't get nobody better to bring that company up than Paul Lee. I mean, he bring it from a different level. Now let's go back to the '89 or '90s where I actually used to work for Todd Gordon, where it was Eastern Championship Wrestling, original ECW. When it was just me and Sandman and a few other guys. We're actually considered the real original ECW if you want to go back.
That with the Morocco and snooker were even around in those early days, correct?
Before that.
Oh, even before.
Before that.
So like the
Wow.
Tommy Cairo days, right? With Tommy Cairo?
Yes, when
Nice.
Tommy Cairo was there, I mean, there was a lot of us. There was J.T. Smith. I mean, there's a lot of guys that were there before, and we had a good time. Todd Gordon was a good guy. He did good, great businessman as well. Never had a problem with Todd. He kept me as the top heel for years until Eddie Gilbert came in, God rest his soul. And then, Eddie started bringing people from Memphis, and I was like, it's time for me to leave because I knew he was going to bring everybody from Memphis and get everybody out of there. So I just took off on my own, and that was that, and then did my own thing from there.
What did you think when you saw Shane Douglas throw the belt in the trash can and pull out an ECW championship? What was your thoughts?
Oh, Shane, man, he's a character, man. I like Shane. He's come a long way. Big difference in attitude in him once he went to ECW. I mean, he was cool when he was in WWE. We were all there together when he was forget the character. He was like a
Who, Dean?
teacher or whatever. I forget the name of
Dean Douglas?
Yeah, Dean Douglas. Dean Douglas. Yeah. When he was there as Dean Douglas, I mean, Shane has always been cool,
Yeah.
but when he went to ECW, man, he just turned a notch up and said, screw it. This is me. I'm gonna come out of. It's like he came out of the closet.
Yeah, he was great.
Lloyd, you went a little old school, like back into ECW. So I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer it, but this is like not part of the script, but it brings it up. We had a guest on the Virgin Princess, Angel Amoroso. She actually had a show on our channel for a little bit. She made a lot of claims of a lot of things that wrestlers did to her. Did you know Angel at all? Because I think she was involved back in the Todd Gordon days.
I heard about it. I wasn't, too familiar with it. I just hear stories about it, but I don't know her personally.
Fair enough.
That's fair enough.
Fair enough. Did you get to come across Vince? You obviously worked for Vince. Did you get to ever talk to Vince or get a feel for Vince McMahon, the person?
It's funny you say that because you have to. First of all, you can't get to Vince because he goes right to his office.
Okay.
He's got his office in every building he's at, and you might as well get in line because there's a line to go talk to him. But the good thing about it is every time we see him, he come through the hallways and always I'd say, "Hey kid," and he'd go over there and when I was younger, he'd always rub my head like this, and but I always respect him. I was kind of scared to always talk to him. But after a while, when I got older, I was like, hey, I gotta talk to this guy to see if I can get a job again. But Vince is all right. I mean, once you sit down and really talk with him, he's not a bad person.
It's no small feat making a career as a professional wrestler, right? Because there's definitely a big gap between the major superstar and then the mid-level guy and then even the low-level guy.
Yeah.
How do you make a career out of it? And at any point you're like, I'm done, I can't handle this anymore?
Yeah, I was saying earlier, and I was telling somebody else this as well. The wrestling business is rough. I mean, you love to hate it, you hate to love it, but it's something that once you're in it, it's kind of hard to get out of. It's just like a drug. It's like I said, it's like a drug. It's like addicting. Once you try to stop it, it draws you right back in. And especially coming from a big family like ours, all of us wrestling and, for years since we were kids, it's all we know and all we do. So, it's kind of hard to get out of it. But I see myself right now slowing down. I'm going through some health issues right now. I don't really put my business out there, but right now I am dealing with renal kidney failure. And I've been dealing with that. And it's been rough, but it doesn't stop me from going out there and doing signings and doing a few matches here and there. But right now, I am up for to get a kidney transplant, and the good thing about it is my wife is from day one. She actually, sorry, I get a little emotional, but
It's
from
okay.
day one, she always claimed that she was going to be my donor, and I told her, don't think, too, don't get too serious about it because, God forbid if you're not, I don't want you to feel, discouraged or hurt. She goes, well, I don't know what I'm going to do if I'm not. She goes, but I feel that I'm going to be your donor. So, I went through all the tests and I've been on dialysis since November of last year and actually February of this year. They started me on dialysis and she's been here every day. I got a machine at home. She sets me up. She hooks me up. She learned how to, hook me up to the machine. And every day she goes, "Don't worry, babe. You're not going to be doing this for long. I'm going to be your donor." And don't you know, 3 weeks ago, she took the test, but don't you know, 3 weeks ago, the doctors called and she is my match.
Wow. That's
Say God is good. God is
congratulations.
good, man.
God
You
bless.
And
hit the
the
you hit the
doctor,
lotto.
yes, I did,
You
because the
did.
doctor told us, he said, for 25 years that the doctor says she's been doing it, she goes, she's never seen a husband and a wife a match. It's
Wow.
one out of 100,000
Get out.
that a husband and a wife would be a match.
Wow.
So the good Lord blessed me, and I got an angel with me.
You do.
You do.
You do.
Unbelievable. Well, Lloyd, I'll share with you. We don't know each other until recently, and it's definitely my honor. But I've had 2 open heart surgeries. I just recovered from my second open heart surgery.
Yep.
So I'm not trying to compare notes. I'm just trying to say, God is
fighting.
great, and
fighting.
you'll get through this, and we'll be praying for you, and everybody out there will be praying for you.
Thank you, man, and I'm glad that you got through this, and you got an angel right above you as well for having your second surgery. That's nothing to joke with because I just got finished doing a heart cath to check to see if my heart was good to go through the surgery, and praise God that everything's good with it, but it's scary. It's the whole situation is scary, and I can just imagine what you went through.
Yeah. Well, we'll go
Is
through it
this,
together, right? Trials and tribulations of life, and we'll make it. So,
That's right. That's right. Amen to that.
amen.
So this is the wrong time to be complaining about having gas. Sorry. Anyway, I had to.
Hey,
Break the
Hey,
mood.
you got. Hey, it doesn't pay rent, so you might as well let it out.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah, wow, he's right.
Lloyd, would you think winning the Qatar Championship, am I saying the country, right?
Qatar.
I'll hack up
The
everything,
Qatar?
was the biggest part of your career? Qatar.
How
There
does
you
it
go.
rank?
Thank you.
How does it rank winning the Qatar
Where does it rank
championship?
in your career?
Oh man, it was great because I got to wrestle and win it from some great guys. It was a four-way. It was me and a gentleman from Austria called Chris the Bambi Killer. He actually was on contract with WWE a few years ago. But it was me, him, and against Alberto Del Rios and RVD,
Wow.
Rob Van Dam. And I was honored to, be part of it, and ended up beating Rob Van Dam with the Samoan drop, which I ended up breaking 3 of his ribs. I felt so bad because at the end, I don't know if you've seen the tape, but I couldn't get up on my shoulders, and I went to grab him, and it's kind of like he was just dead weight. So I lifted him up with all my weight, and I went straight back. When I went right back, you could just see him fold up. He's like, "Oh!" And his shoulders up, and the referee saw him put his shoulder down. It was 1, 2, 3, and then next day I get a call, and he's like, "Hey, Oos, you broke 3 of my ribs." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I felt so bad. Rob's a good dude, man. I love that guy.
That wasn't very oozy of you.
No, it wasn't Uzi and me, but hey, I had to do what I had to do.
That's for sure.
Lloyd, do you want to
It
tell
was
this guy to
about
stop
baby.
reaching for the Uzi card every, I
You're
mean,
the one who put it in here. I'm getting heat for what he started. This is terrible. Hey, I got to ask you.
Hey, it's all right because they even got shirts made up now, so it's all
Yeah.
Uzi to me.
Yeah, yeah. I got to ask you while I got you here. One of the areas I'm always fascinated with is obviously down in Carlos Colon country, Puerto Rico, WWC. What was it like, dealing with Carlos Colon, and was it easy for you to go to Puerto Rico, considering what happened to Bruiser Brody, a few years before you got over there?
It was easy because my dad just made that phone call, and Carlos let me in with open arms. But when I got down there, it was a different story.
Okay.
I was like, my uncle was there, my uncle Sika was there, and I was kind of like happy he was there. But after about 3 weeks we were there, he left and went back, came back to the States, and I was there by myself. And it was just me and a lot of other guys that were there. The guys from Puerto Rico, and then a few guys from the States that I didn't know at that time. And then there was Barbarian's brother, Sione. He was there with me, but still, it was rough in the beginning. Uh, when you go out there and you're used to wrestling over here, somebody in the ring, you walk into the ring and somebody spits on you, you're gonna spit back at them. You're like, son of a bitch, you
Mm.
know. So that kind of like happened to me in Puerto Rico, and I tell this story because it's a shoot, it's straight. I was wrestling one of their guys. He's actually a cop in Puerto Rico. His name was La Ley de Puerto Rico, and I ended up beating him. So I'm walking back to the locker room, and then all of a sudden, here goes this guy. He looks at me, he says something in Spanish to me, and I didn't understand a word he said. And next thing you know, he spits on me, and I got pissed off, and I got a Luger, and I spit back at him. So, hey, laughing, people laughing at him, this and that. I go to the locker room, take a shower, change. Towards the end of the night, I'm driving back to where I'm staying at with security. So we're walking out the building, and next thing you know, I hear, here's this guy that I spit on, holding a 9 millimeter to my head.
oof.
And lucky for the security guy, he got in between us and he started talking to him. And as he did that, I just backed up and I went back in the locker room, and I sat in the locker room and I didn't know where to go. There was no other place to go. And at that time, Jose Estrada's son, Rico, was wrestling down there, and he came out of the shower and he looks at me and he goes, Lloyd, he goes, what's wrong? He goes, man, he goes, you're pale. And I told him what happened, and that's his hometown. So he goes, oh, this is not going to happen in my hometown. So he got dressed, and before you know it, security came and got me and said, let's go, let's go. The guy left. And we had to shoot in the car and take off. And, that was just one thing that happened down there. I went through a whole lot in Puerto Rico. I could write a book and a half, that is, of all the stuff that went on, but it was good times and there was a lot of bad times.
What were your thoughts when Brody was murdered, if I can ask?
Well, I mean, I can remember me and my dad, we were sitting in the house, and my uncle was actually there when it happened. And
Okay.
he called my dad and he was telling him about what happened. But I only met Brody a couple of times. And the times that I met him, Frank, he was a nice guy. I was young. I really, was just starting to get into business at that time. And everybody that I talked to and told me about him said that Frank was a hell of a guy. He was, one of the guys, one of the best in the business at that time. He was over like hell, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, his wife, I sat down and talked with her a little bit, Barbara, and she's very nice as well. And, she just told me some stories about him, and it was good to hear things from her personally. But all the boys, that talk about it in Puerto Rico, they don't say too much about it down there because, of course, uh, Jose Gonzalez, Invader, he still was wrestling down at that time. And, I seen him a couple times at the office when I had to do interviews. And I was kind of like, oh man, scared. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, man, if I turn my back, is this guy gonna stab me or what?
Right. Right.
But there was one night where Mr. Hughes didn't show up, So he was main event, and they put me in the main event. They said, okay, he didn't show up. We're gonna have you work with Vader. And here I am shaking,
Oof.
and then my uncle looks at me. He goes, "Don't worry, I'm here. There's nothing gonna happen." So I went out there, and first thing he goes over there, I'm wrestling with him, and he gets me and he grabs me in the hold. So I reverse it and I grab him in the hold. The next day he looks up at me and he goes, "Don't hurt me. I know your father and your uncle." And I looked at him and I said, "So?" And I started beating the shit out of him. I said, so yeah. So I was like, you know what? Hey, if I got to give my chance in, I better give my licks in now.
There you go.
Of course, he got me back. He put a damn knot in the back of my head. I still got with a chair.
Still
But
got it.
you know, it was scary. I was scared to work with him the first time, but after a while, he didn't want to work with nobody else but me.
Oh,
Wow.
there you go. There you go. Lloyd, how proud you must be. How proud are you of the bloodline? Did you ever think that Roman Reigns is going to end up being considered one of the all-time greats? This title reign is one of the longest, going back to Hogan in the late '80s. Did you ever think this would happen? And the Usos are now clearly one of the all-time great tag teams. You must be very proud. Your thoughts on their recent push?
Uh, I'm actually very proud of my family and my cousins and my nephews. But to be honest with you, in the beginning, I never expected Roman to be in the wrestling business. You know, he was D1 player for play football, and then he got you know after college he got
Leukemia, right?
what is it? He went to the Chargers, I think it was.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think the NFL drafted him into the Chargers, and that's when they found out about his condition, with the leukemia and all that.
Right.
But I didn't expect him still at that time to go into the wrestling business because Joe wasn't really around the wrestling that much when he was young. But he made that phone call to my uncle and said, hey, he wanted to be part of the business. And when he did, I knew from there that he was going to be a superstar
Really?
because he's got the look.
He does.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the look.
Yeah.
He's got the talent. I mean, uh, if you ever really got to sit down and talk with him, his knowledge is very, very good. And when I seen him when he was down there in FM, I think it was FMW. No, yeah, he started FMW. Then
Hmm.
it was NXT, all that when he first
Right.
started NXT. But when he was there, Vince actually told him, he goes, "I'm going to make you the next Rock."
Really?
He sure did.
He sure did.
He sure
was
did. Yeah.
was Roman bothered by over the years? Does Roman even pay much attention to the internet? Because when he was being pushed as a face, there was people just tearing into him. We always loved him. We loved him even when he was being pushed as a face because I thought he had it. But was he bothered by any of the the trolling and the remarks on the internet? Does that stuff bother, if I could call him this, Joe?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure it did. I mean, we used to sit down and talk. Matter of fact, we actually both of us were together. We did the things for actually our cousin Dwayne. We did the Hobbs and Shaw. We did the trailer for that, and we really sat down and talked. And that's the same time that you're talking about where he was a babyface, but people were taking him as just booing him and everything. And it probably did bother him, but he knew that he had business to do, and he just kept it straight. And I guess that time off where we had COVID and everything, I think he just got things together and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do." And he knew that he wasn't getting over as a babyface, and that's what he just wanted to go as a heel. And I think that was the best move he ever did.
Did you get a chuckle when you saw him with Paul Heyman, your former boss, Paul Heyman, managing him?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that because Paul's been around our family for years. I mean, he started in the business when he was actually, doing interviews and being a photographer and all that years ago. So he's been around our family for years, and Paul's always been good to us. So I was happy that he was part of that because I know he's got a lot to do with a lot of that's going on because his brain is I can see him in a lot of what's going on. So I was happy that he was part of it.
So Paul's putting in some serious creative right now with the Bloodline.
I think so. I mean,
Interesting.
it probably don't look like it, but
Right.
I would say he's got something to do with it because he's not just going to sit back and not do anything. Paul's not like that. He'll even when I was actually right before COVID, I was supposed to go back to actually the WWE. I had a meeting with them, and I wanted to go back as a producer. And when he was in charge, first thing he did, he goes, "Get down here." He goes, "We have a meeting," and he pushed to bring me back in. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit. So that was that. But Paul has always been on top of things, and I don't know why they really took him out of the position. I'm kind of glad they did because he's in a great position right now. But when he was in charge, I mean, I would love to see him in charge, somehow.
Lloyd, wrestling's very competitive. Is there personal jealousy between all you family members, right? You're all very successful. Do you guys have a personal competition with each other, and does it get a little spicy between you guys?
No, I mean everybody's got their standards to where they're at. Like the names, how high they're. Like, of course, Roman's on top right now. He's the hottest thing going on. You got because of Rikishi, you got of course Dwayne, all those guys. But we're all a loving family. We love each other, and we just I'm happy for everyone. Just like I'm sure they'll be happy for me if I was in their position as well. We all get along. When we see each other, it's like we never skipped a beat, like we've seen each other every day. So, that part, I don't see any of us being, jealous or anything like that. I mean, we're all happy for each other.
All right, Lloyd, we're almost out of time. I'm going to hit you with this final question. Who's the head of the table, The Rock or Roman Reigns?
Oh boy.
Oh,
Oh boy.
man.
Be careful.
Well, no, I'm going to tell you who the real head of the table is.
Do it.
It ain't Dewey, and it ain't Roman. It's my dad.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's the one that started us all in this wrestling business, and he is the one that is the head of the table if you want to get serious about it.
There you go.
But
He's
right
carving
now
the
on
turkey.
TV,
He's carving the turkey.
yes,
There you
he's
go.
the one that started all of us out of it. But if you want to say who on TV right now, I got to give it to Roman. I mean,
Ooh.
The Rock is not on the scene right now, but if he comes back on, I'm sure they'll try to make him as the head of the table. But Roman is doing his thing. He's putting asses in seats right now.
Every
Him and the
every
Usos.
WrestleMania, we're tortured over the last few years with the potential of The Rock versus Roman. Do you think we're going to get it soon or get it at all?
I'm hoping next year because they got it in Hollywood, so they
Right.
must have something planned right now. Because I think it's due to his scheduling and all that. Because they wanted to do it like 3 years ago, I believe,
Okay.
or 2 years ago, and to his schedule, and he's got so many movies going on, and I guess they had to wait for the right time where he can take a little break, and I think maybe that might be the right time.
Well, if they have you do a run-in, who are you going to help?
Yeah. Whose side you on?
Eh, that's hard because we're all family, but you know what? If I have to get ahead of the game, I'm going with Roman.
Nice.
Awesome.
You're smart. You're smart.
Lloyd, all seriousness, our prayers are with you.
Yes.
Things will be well. We'll be thinking about you. Thank you for taking this time on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. What an honor. You were such a great guest. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys, man. And my wife was just telling me she surprised me. She put a GoFund up on my my Facebook, and that's something I didn't know, but it's something that'll help out. And I heard earlier you guys were talking about Barry Windham, and Barry's a good guy, and I pray for him and make sure that everything is good with him, and I pray that the good Lord, heals him and he gets out of this, whatever he's going through right now with his heart attack and everything. But I say go out there and support, your favorite wrestler. If Barry Windham's one that you cherish and love, go out and support his GoFundMe because it's for a good cause.
Well, we'll be sharing your GoFundMe page also. You're one of our favorite wrestlers, so you know what? Thank you to your wife also.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
God bless
Thank
you,
you guys
sir.
very much.
God bless
you too. God bless you.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Whenever you guys want me to do it, I'm ready to do this again.
We'll be ready to have you on, man. It's an honor.
Thank you very much. You guys take care, man. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lloyd. Thank you.
Another great one, man.
Yeah, he's awesome.
How awesome is that
He's
guy?
awesome. He's awesome. I want him to do a run-in. Let's have it. Let's have that program.
Well, first thing I want to do is I got to get to his Facebook page. I want to get his GoFundMe page.
Absolutely.
I want to start posting on all our social media.
Absolutely.
Again, guys, you know what? We only have one turn on this planet.
Yep.
And the reality is if we only make a difference in other people's lives. So here's a man who's entertained millions.
Yep.
As a wrestler.
Yep.
Was part of one of the greatest wrestling families ever.
Absolutely.
So let's take the time out and donate and help people out. I mean, it's all we can do. That's all we can do. Jason Morning says, good interview. Thanks, M&P. No, thank you for joining us. Phil said, great question, guys.
Thanks,
Jay
Phil.
Will says,
Thank
good interview. Life has some interesting circumstances. Have a good night. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I also want to thank Lloyd for joining us. And wow, what an honor.
That's going to be a lot of fun to listen back to because I'm sure that there's more nuggets than we can even grasp when we're doing it. You know what I mean? You watch it back, and I'm looking forward to.
Think about this. I understand this is his wife. I get it, but
Boy,
think about the sacrifice.
Sure.
That
without a flinch, by the way.
Without a flinch,
that sacrifice. She is an angel. He's got her accurately, descripted. It's just amazing to me.
It is.
He is blessed.
It is amazing.
He's blessed.
The power of
love,
and just human beings in general.
Yeah.
We could be the worst of ourselves, and we could be the best of ourselves.
Why doesn't the human race tap into that more? Instead of always seeming to just reflexively tap into, I don't even know if that's a word, just tapping into the negative right away. I think we should all, maybe for a day, unplug our machines and talk to each other, folks. Why don't we try that one out?
Or maybe you should try not putting on John Sawyer's big head on videos.
You're doing it again.
No,
he's going to say something about my band. You stop it. You stop. Gee, Pharaoh, what happened? Oh, I don't know, Mike. What did you do?
Best part of the interview? Wait a minute. Best part of the interview?
Yeah.
When I asked the Evan Ginsberg question,
Oh.
Lloyd clearly knew who I was talking about, and he went like this.
And perhaps he's trying to forget about who you're talking about.
Without a doubt.
That might be.
I'm the associate producer of the wrestler. You understand me, Lloyd. You will do what I say.
You realize how much of my hard work sits in my closet over that in film?
What? Oh, all right, guys. With that, we'll see you next Thursday. I want to thank Jared for producing yet another great show.
And I want to thank my fleet of lawyers. Don't touch me.
And we'll see you next Thursday.
I do have a fleet of them. Anyway.
We got a good lineup coming up. We're doing a major push, and thank you again, guys, for supporting the Monte and the Pharaoh show. This is Mike Monte.
This is the Pharaoh, and until next week.
Wait a minute.
You what?
I want to thank Lloyd again for joining us. What an incredible interview!
It was fantastic.
Go ahead.
All right, that was very UC of you. Oh. Until now, I had to. You put it in the script.
I don't want to hear that word again now.
Never again.
You've worn it out.
I said it 3 times in 60 minutes.
That's a long.
That's
enough.
not abusing it.
One Usi works. It's funny.
Works.
2 Usis.
Do you hear those idiotic?
Jared, how many Usis can you say in 60 minutes?
Three's reasonable.
I'll give him 3 more.
He's gonna.
You want 6 Usis?
I like it.
He likes it.
Ugh.
Don't you hear the fans? All they want to do is hear them say the word Usi. You got to check out those fans.
Usi from Sami Zayn.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm way cooler than Sami Zayn.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
All right, anyway, this is Mike Monte.
Maria Davis knows I'm cooler than Sami Zayn.
Maria's
right,
already
Maria?
gone for the night. She went to sleep.
Oh, geez. Maria, watch this on a replay and agree. Right in. Anyway, you've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh. And until next time, on behalf of my partner, thank you for letting us come into your living rooms. Later.